Join Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio, the host of Only the Best for You. Be a changemaker and unlock the secret to your best life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my program, Only the Best for You, here on Global Voice Radio. My name is Carol Davies of the Passion Motivated Coaching Company. I'm so pleased each week to share with you the best information and speakers about how you can be a change maker to make the world and yourself the best you can be. Today we're at episode 54, where I'm reporting on how optimism is a key ingredient for being a change maker. So, what are the advantages of being an optimist? It's a scientifically proven fact that those who see the world in a glass half full kind of way live longer and experience less stress. Doctors claim that a big majority of all their office calls are for chronic stress-related health woes. So it makes sense that if you see the world with a better mindset, you'd have fewer physical and mental problems. When researchers at Concordia University conducted a study about pessimists and optimists, they discovered a direct link between the person's outlook on life and their stress hormone levels. An optimist's levels are steady, while a pessimist's levels soar out of control and become unmanageable sometimes. An optimist is someone who basically believes everything's going to be okay. They don't have a doom and gloom outlook on life, even when something goes wrong. That doesn't mean they ignore times of distress either, but instead of throwing their hands up in the air and giving up and giving in to an awful situation, they roll up their sleeves and get to work making things better. A pessimist, on the other hand, can't see a positive outcome resulting from a stressful situation at all. They usually see the worst case scenario in every event, and if they don't, it's still a situation where nothing good can come of it. Pessimists usually can't understand it, but their outlook is what brings all that negativity to fruition for them. For example, they go to work knowing that they'll never get a promotion at work. It's sort of an automatic negative mindset that no good will happen to them. And that lackluster attitude affects the workplace. The powers that be see a negative mindset in their employee, so they choose someone else for the promotion because they want a leader who can be positive and inspire others. If an optimist gets passed over for the job, they adopt a mindset that has them analyzing what went wrong so they can repair it and get ahead soon. It's not that they don't want to, but a pessimist can't manage his or her cortisol levels, the stress hormone, once they've been disrupted. Not only does the hormone present at a much higher level, but once it's released, the pessimist can't claw their way out of it. It's in the system and it just keeps circulating. A pessimist suffers from heart disease more than an optimist does. In the Psychological Bulletin, they published a scientific review about a study where researchers discovered that optimism protects you from heart disease to some degrees. The Harvard School of Public Health found in a scientific study that optimists have a better HDL score. That's the good cholesterol your body needs for optimal health. So pessimists have less of this and must work harder to get their HDL levels up. A pessimist has his or her immune system knocked out of whack. An optimist has a strong, formidable immune system. Researchers have discovered that an optimist's immune cells cluster and fight off infection better than a pessimist does. Pessimists can't handle the stress they experience, so they're continually upset and depressed about their circumstances. It's especially prevalent after traumatic events. They just can't seem to recover. Not only is their whole life filled with one disappointment after another, but in the end, they don't survive, such as the positive mind appears to. It's probably because the horrible effects that stress has on your health are not having the same impact on optimistic individuals. Is it possible to convert yourself to an optimistic outlook? Some people mistakenly believe that optimists are born that way, but this isn't true. You choose how you look at life's ups and downs. And sometimes you need to learn new ways of handling difficult situations if you're not equipped to do that just yet. Here are some ways that optimism can improve your life. Researchers have found that individuals who maintain a positive attitude during intense surgeries and after usually have a shorter recovery period. People who work in high-stress environments find their inner peace and balance by focusing on the positives of their job. The act of meditation focuses on finding gratitude in your hardest struggles, even during the most trying challenges. Out of the three scenarios I just listed, learning how to develop an optimistic attitude was the common factor. In fact, people who strive to look for the silver lining usually rise above their challenges with triumph and victory. Well, it's easy to say focus on the positive and you'll be happier. Putting it into practice is quite a bit more difficult. It may even seem insurmountable when you face certain challenges. However, trying to find the positive in whatever you're going through will save you a lot of stress. You may even find a useful solution to the problem you're facing. Since remaining optimistic during tough times is challenging, it's important to consider a few tips and tricks that will reshape the way you think. Here's 5 valuable tips that I've come across that I'd like to share with you to help you maintain a positive attitude. 1, remove yourself from toxic people. If you're trying to elevate your mentality and remain positive, you must remove yourself from negative people, if at all possible. It's almost like trying to grow an orchid in a dry environment. It simply won't flourish. When people drain you of your energy, constantly criticize or put you down, it's time to let them go. Walking away from unhealthy relationships is the first step towards loving yourself and maintaining your optimistic outlook. 2, practice speaking kind words. It's easy to get in the habit of negative communication, whether it's complaining about your morning commute or not getting enough praise on your job, or how your family doesn't seem to value you. You can find yourself complaining about everything. This negative attitude can transcend into every aspect of your life. Soon, you'll find yourself having a negative disposition. So practice speaking kind words about yourself and what's around you. Look for the good in people and talk about that. The old saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it, will come in handy. 3, learn to love yourself. Having a negative outlook stems from not being fully confident in yourself. In order to find the positive in your life, start with what's amazing about yourself. Practice daily affirmations so you can remind yourself how awesome you are. Get in the habit of regular self-care and stick to it. This will help you change your outlook towards whatever situation presents itself. 4, make progressive changes. If you're finding it hard to stay positive in your current situation, perhaps make changes to get out of it. If you dislike your job, make the effort necessary to find a new one. If you're feeling unhealthy, make nutritious changes so you can live your best life. Sometimes a little effort is all you need to change your current perspective and get on the route to optimism. 5, give to others. They say there is more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. When you give of yourself to others, you're no longer focusing on your own issues. You're being around those who are less fortunate, and you're making their moment better. If you find yourself constantly in a negative space, volunteer somewhere, such as a homeless shelter, a place where contributing to others makes a difference. If it's in your means, donate to a local animal charity or to a local food bank. This will give you a broader perspective and help you develop an overall positive attitude. Shifting your focus from negative to positive is not an overnight fix. It takes a lot of self-improvement and effort to really see changes. Keep working towards changing your perspective, and you'll be on your way to living a happy life. Now let's look at how we can become a change maker when we have optimism in our life. Developing the optimistic outlook is so important if you want to be a change maker. Change agents or change makers fascinate me. They have influence that many try and fail to achieve through positions or titles. In case you're not familiar with the term, a change agent or maker is an individual who has the capacity and foresight to spot problems and opportunities, envision and describe a better future, and act and inspire others to implement solutions, for example, within the workplace or in the broader community. Change agents have the ability to alter the deeply held belief of others simply by being authentic. They can transform teams, departments, and entire workplaces, among other things. You may be asking yourself, how can I be a change agent? How can I be a change maker? The answer is yes, if you realize that you have the capacity to change from within. From my experience, the change agents that have the most significant impact, for example, within companies, exhibit several traits that can be learned and practiced. Here are a few characteristics. 1, they are positive. An upbeat and contagiously optimistic person who focuses on what is going well and how they can utilize a company's strengths or community strengths to redefine policies, practices, and values. They are visionary, always ahead of their time. These people are able to see a future not dreamed of by others. Organizations that harness the viewpoints of these people and encourage them to share their ideas can make significant strides within their workplaces or communities. They are likable. Put simply, this is a congenial person who builds relationships, gains the respect of others, and earns the trust of people. They are open. They are approachable individuals who are also willing to have difficult conversations and challenge the opinions and attitudes of others for the greater good of a company. Instead of straying from the uncomfortable, they engage in a dialogue with fellow team members and bring them facts, clarity, and most importantly, solutions to an issue. They are strategic. Without a doubt, they are smart people with knowledge about the particular priorities of their organizations. They also have an amazing ability to build a strong team and identify departmental challenges early, helping them to reform workplaces, communities, or whatever they set their minds to. Consider how you may want to influence your organization. For example, would you like to see millennials recruited more effectively in your department? Are there not enough people of color or visible minorities on your team's leadership team? Are there innate biases in the way your organization conducts performance reviews? Figure out how you can be the catalyst, the spark or the change needed to build equity within your company or community for everyone. So these are 5 very integral qualities for the Changemaker, but there are others too that I could speak about, but maybe you'll see yourself in these as well. As a coach, I'm often asked to decode the process of business transformation and provide the repeatable formula for success. I guess this is understandable, given that widely quoted statistic, you know the one, that 70% of all change efforts fail. In a way, this interest in our work is very humbling. In another way, it's pretty intimidating because as a coach, my practices have evolved around my clients and people over time. And along with it is a so-called formula for transformation. But for each coach and client, this is different. One thing I do know for certain is that the role of the change agent or change maker, internal and external, is critical in any transformation process. What does it take to be a transformational change agent? So it's very interesting for me to try to speak about this in my thoughts. So let me share with you what I've learned. I call it the being, seeing, doing framework. The doing is the specific skills and methods for creating change. The seeing is the ability to make sense of and reshape perceptions of reality. And being are the personal characteristics and qualities. So in my experience, one of the biggest traps for change agents is an overwhelming emphasis on doing. This is understandable given it's the stuff of change and is readily observable and actionable. It is now, however, my very strong belief that the most effective doing is preceded by seeing, which in turn is preceded by being. There are certain characteristics under the 3 concepts of doing, seeing, and being that are important to point out. They are attributes that are an internal benchmark that people can use to see how well they are doing as a change maker. So, as I said, these are the specific skills and methods for creating change. So people, as a successful change maker, have 5 characteristics under this. 1, they create a setting for success without needing to control the process. 2, they artfully apply frameworks, models, and tools. 3, they provide correction to senior executives without causing resentment or to senior officials in a community. 4, they appeal to the heart or the emotion and then the head or the logic. 5, they make a call to action. Now here is what is important in the seeing: the ability to make sense of and reshape perceptions of reality. 1, change makers see a different normal. 2, they see the distinction between fact and truth. 3, they see leaders in a sympathetic light. 5, they see all interventions in a strategic context. And they see a higher self. Now on to what I call being. These are the personal characteristics and qualities of transformational change agents. 1, they are a role model first and a preacher second. 2, they are optimistic. They inspire hope, not fear. 3, they are courageous and selfless. 4, they are trusted and they leverage it. 5, they are in service, not subservience. It would be disingenuous and inauthentic to claim that we have cracked the code, even with many case studies in hands. It is hard to define the transformation. Thousands of people from all over the world can be defined by the characteristics I have just outlined. And often when we think of organizations that are responsible for change, we think of it as something that is implemented. There are so many developments happening all the time in technology, research, and into politics that the whole landscape is evolving. It's important to reflect that these exponential changes are not just points of interest or developments to be excited about or fearful of, but is representative of the fact that our world is changing all the time. To me, it's a useful way to think about change, especially when we might feel quite understandably about what life might look like in the future. Uncertainty or living in a state of flux is never comfortable, is it? In the context of our ever-changing world, it's a good time to think about the skills we're likely to need in the future. Many of these skills are about mindset and the ability to adapt. Plus, many of our roles and skills will be interdependent, meaning we need to be working together and hold an understanding that the world is complex, full of paradoxes and contradiction. I saw a study recently that outlined some skills that people will need for around the year 2030. These include judgment and decision making, fluency of ideas, originality, learning strategies, and active learning. Now, these are concepts that are just starting to come into the forefront, and it's going to be interesting to see how these develop in the new generation and leaders that are coming into their strength. While so much change is happening, however, there is much that has remained the same despite it needing to change. These include the structures of organizations, like rigid hierarchies and traditional leadership being unwilling for the status quo to be challenged. We have much to be optimistic about, everyone that has the potential to be a change agent. Everyone has within them the ability to lead and influence change, no matter who they are, no matter where they work, no matter their role. Even better, being a change agent or a change maker is a role you can start right now. This role undoubtedly brings with it many challenges. You have to have the requisite courage, passion, determination, and be equal to the task. Having the energy, purpose, and sense of meaning you will gain from influence and positive change makes it all worthwhile. So here's a potential position description for a change agent or change maker. The essential criteria are resilient boat rocker, committed to the development of others, comfortable with contradictions and tensions, exercises a growth mindset, rolls with resistance and reactance, demonstrates courage in uncertainty. Here are the perks and conditions you might look forward to. Extra pay? Probably not. Praise and awards? Unlikely. Respect from others? Negotiable. Energy, purpose, and a sense of meaning? Guaranteed. So, if this sounds like something you would like to do, have a look for jobs that seem like you have a chance to get in and show your vision, passion, and purpose. Hopefully, when you're implementing change, you'll be aware that working with the people affected as far as possible is the key to success. A helpful way of thinking is inviting people to be investors rather than making them buy in. When introducing change, it's tempting to focus purely on the benefits of that change. In many ways, it makes sense. The change will make things better. Otherwise, why bother? Any kind of change can feel unsettling. Put it in perspective. Even a change that has been instigated by you and will be positive, such as starting a new house or moving to a new job, will be stressful. So when the change is something that is happening within your organization and impacts in your job and the way you work, whether it's an organizational restructure or a change of practice, life can feel very uncertain. That's why it's important to emphasize what will remain the same. Most people in organizations care for, value, and identify with their organizations. Disparaging the old world in favor of the bright, shiny new world ahead could feel like an insult. Insulting people is a great way to make them feel disengaged, resistant, and disenfranchised, the exact opposite of what you want. Irrespective of the nature of the change or the reason for it, there will be some things that remain and good things about the current state to celebrate. You can't always throw the baby out with the bathwater. When planning your change, you'll be devising on a communications and engagement plan. As part of that plan, you'll have some key messages that outline what is changing and why, and what things are envisioned to look like in the future. You'll articulate how two-way dialogue will happen throughout the process. An effective communications plan will also include key messages outlining positive things that staff and the organization is already doing, and for those things to continue. The exact nature of those messages will depend on the circumstances of the change and your organization. Fostering a sense of continuity, as well as acknowledging success, is key to encouraging people to be a proactive part of the change. Remember, people own what they help to create. A root cause of resistance to change is that employees identify with and care for their organizations. People fear that after the change, the organization will no longer be the organization they value and identify with. And the higher the uncertainty surrounding the change, the more they anticipate such threats to the organizational identity they hold dear. Change leadership that emphasizes what is good about the envisioned change and bad about the current state of affairs typically fuels these fears because it signals that changes will be fundamental and far-reaching. So the whole aspect of change management is exciting, but it's also exciting to think that you or I can be involved in this if we have a strong sense of confidence and optimism in ourselves to go forward. Change starts with each one of us. So isn't it something to look forward to think as a strong optimist with a belief in myself, my organization, and my community, the future is going to be better and brighter. I'll vote for that. How about you? I truly hope that you will find some great takeaways in my talk today. If you want further information or would like to talk about more ideas with me, contact me through my organization, The Passion Motivator, or by email at coachcaroldavies@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, you can change your life at any time and become the success you were meant to be. I look forward to connecting with you next week. Bye now.
Tune in every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern for Only the Best for You with Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio.